Off the east coast of Canada lies one of the Earth's great islands, the Newfound Land. A storied place steeped in the courage of a people who fished waters so thick with cod, a man could walk the seas. Or so they said. Since the time of Columbus and Cabot, nations have fought to control Newfoundland's fish stocks. For Europe's poor and starving, cod was more than trade or commerce. It was life. Before Montreal, before New York, there was the great fishing port of St. John's. As the demand for cod grew, outport villages took root along the edge of the fishing grounds. As many as 1,300 of these communities once lined the coast of Newfoundland, where life remained unchanged for half a millennium. They were places like Hay Cove in Placentia Bay. Hay Cove was settled by the Burton family in 1830. Boats were lost, tears were shed. Each generation struggled as hard as the one before, but the family persevered. The Burtons stayed until the 1940s. Then, one by one, they left for city work, until all that remained were the soft, shadowed hills. Three generations later, the community is being rebuilt. The year is 1937. The Hindenburg has crashed, and Snow White is in the theaters. At Hay Cove, it is also a busy time. The bake apples are plentiful, and the fishing is good. King Cod, they called it, with meat so sweet it built an industry. And although most Hay Cove fishermen could not swim, they'd go to sea before dawn and fish until their hands bled. And then the real work began. Heading and gutting, cleaning and salting. Everyone helped, because everyone had to. The cod still come to Placentia Bay, but there's not much fishing done these days. The boats have been burned, the nets put away. And like the Burtons, the fishermen have moved to town. Late June, the construction is finished. 10 people are traveling to Hay Cove to spend the next few months living as outport fishing families.
That looks pretty good on you there.
I don't know how they wore it in the old days.
How does this look?
Oh, to me? Pretty good.
2 homes will be established. The Murray House and the Wheeler House. The Wheelers are from St. John's, where Ralph is a university professor, swim coach, and gourmet cook. His son Elliot is 11. His daughter Anna is 14.
I just hope we can do justice to the people that lived here, you know, and do it in a respectful manner, for sure. And I just hope we have the skills and the talent that they had to do it.
Ralph's neighbors are the Murrays, Monty, Annie, and their 3 children.
Just to come back here and spend 10 weeks here, I mean, you couldn't buy this, right? You couldn't manufacture this for yourself. I could never afford to give this to my kids to spend a summer doing this.
Monty is a hard man from a small town. He left Newfoundland to find work. He found Annie.
I know that the women had many chores, and it had to be hard because, like, I have 3 kids here, and they're quite grown. Like my youngest is 4 years old, and I can just imagine those women having 10, 12 kids. They're always pregnant and the baby in their arms and washing diapers. It had to be really hard.
Ooh, oh my God. Nice. Nice.
At the Wheelers, the women's work will be shared between Anna and Mary Ann Graham, who everyone calls Nan.
Hard. Lovely.
Mary Ann is a 75-year-old grandmother who once ran a girls' school residence.
A real Newfoundland sweater.
She'll have her hands full with Elliot, and especially Anna.
Isn't that gorgeous? I think sometimes I'm more assertive than is necessary, but I've always been that way. I realize that, but sometimes it gets in the way, I would say, and I'm sure that must rub people the wrong way. Not that it's been said to me, but I would feel sure that that would come up, you know?
This is the diary of Anna Wheeler. All I have to say at first is, could they pick a more beautiful spot? This place is gorgeous. Like, you wouldn't believe how gorgeous it is. Apart from my clothes, which is not. Look at this. If my friends could see me now. Look. Pretty gross.
Elliot Wheeler's video diary, first entry. First of all, I'm going to talk about the house. The house has 3 bedrooms. I share a room with my dad. The floor is wooden, and the kitchen has a potbelly stove. I like about the house, well, nothing really. It's pretty bad.
Now that's a coffee cup. I'm gonna need a cup of coffee like that at 4 in the morning. I tell you, huh?
My mother thought I looked good in black, so she wanted me to go into the ministry. But it was always something other than fishing. I don't think there was ever one of the viable options or even a consideration to go into the fishery at that time.
The families have been given the essentials of outport life: a few animals, a root cellar, some tools, and a potato garden full of rocks.
There are already potatoes under?
There must be, yes.
Yeah, they've been planted.
Planted the old-fashioned way. Look, just put the potatoes on the ground and cover them over.
This is all the women's end of things. There's my end down here, the business end.
Oh, not only. If the women have to go down and work on the flake, so do the men have to cut the wood and help with the cow in the garden, you see? It works both ways.
We'll negotiate.
Well, there you go.
We'll negotiate.
There you go.
At the Murray house, the family has a boarder. He's Harold St. Croix, their shareman, a kind of hired hand. Harold comes from 10 generations of fishermen, but he lives in Toronto, where he's a caretaker who dreams of becoming an actor.
Why did you not want to stay and fish?
Because the way it was, it was a hard way of living, and it was severe weather, right? And the sea can be very deadly, and apparently it's not, I see so many people struggle over the years that I just didn't want to live like that. The life is, just unbearable.
But Harold, like the others, has come to Hay Cove to measure himself. The challenge is not simply to survive, but to build a community. To succeed, they need more than courage. They'll need faith in each other and in themselves. The outports bred iron men who sailed wooden boats, and strong women who loved and grieved and turned a harsh land into a welcoming home.
We never heard Mom complaining, no. Although she had a lot of work to do, she had a big family to look after, but we all helped. We all helped in every way we could.
Fred Burton has come home. He and his friend Saul Upshaw are here to teach the art of making fish.
That's a good part. The yuckiest part now.
Focus for that.
You might be cutting out
Caught
tongues after a while.
Gutting,
That's the stomach.
heading, and most important of all, removing the spine.
That's how it's done, sir.
The community will soon receive their summer supplies from a local merchant. Their bill to be repaid with the fish they catch. If the cod is poorly cleaned, it will be worth much less.
See what you did there.
Cut too much.
You cut the. You never left the nape. You went there and down too deep.
Too deep.
Ralph Wheeler hopes the summer brings him closer to his son. He wants him to learn the skills of their forefathers.
Here, throw it in the bucket, will you?
Okay.
In the bucket.
I would like for him to experience it, not in the sense that I was a fisherman or I am a fisherman, but in the sense that his ancestors were fishermen. And he would have a better understanding and probably a better appreciation for what they went through. They were very skilled in what they did. And I want him to be able to appreciate that. It's not just a matter of starting up a boat and going out and putting a hook in the water. It's understanding the seas and the wind conditions and the currents and the tides and, you know, knots or tying knots can save your life in this situation. If you don't know how to tie a knot, you're in trouble.
Elliot knows little about the sea, but he knows one thing. His dad won't let him down.
I feel safe with him. He's really smart in the water. He knows how to, he's a professional swimmer, and he knows loads of stuff about fishing and safety. And if I fell in, he would save me.
Anna doesn't know much about outport life either, and right now, that's fine with her.
At home, I usually am up in my room all day, either talking on the phone, or the only time I come downstairs is usually to eat or to go on the computer. And I usually, on weekends, I'll just be out with my friends, and that's pretty much my life. I don't think you got to decide much, like, on where your life was headed. It was kind of already planned out for you. You probably just have to do exactly like what they told you. You know, you do the chores, and then when you're old enough, you get married to some dude who's really ugly with no teeth, and then you become a mom, and it starts all over again. That's it.
Look at all the gum on that, so you get your hands right.
10 years ago, Monty Murray was a restless man, drifting from job to job and bar to bar. He turned his back on Newfoundland and his family.
I drank for about, I don't know, about 18 years, I guess, 16 or 18 years. Can't really remember too much about it or how long duration it was. But yeah, I drank quite a bit for quite a while, and whatever else, and had a lot of fun. But you know, sometimes it was fun, sometimes it's not. It's you know, you think you're having a good time, but you do a lot of harm to yourself along the way. You don't even realize it.
He says meeting Annie saved him. And at 41, he knows he was given a second chance.
Stuff that keeps me on the straight and narrow, keeps me in line, and gives me the want to stay in line, the ambition to stay in line, and straighten up and fly right type thing.
Why did you come back to Newfoundland? You were living in Vancouver.
But for Monty, it was very important to go back to Newfoundland.
Why was that?
There's a pride of saying that you're a Newfoundlander. And
so what's the plan now, Monty?
Plan now, my son, is a mug-up.
A mug-up?
The outports were families, and families were the outports. You couldn't have one without the other. And it's hard, and it's tough, and you work together. You spend a whole lot more time together. Right? There's no TV as a distraction. There's no other distractions except living.
oh, leave him alone. He's scared now.
No,
oh, he's stuck now.
He's stuck.
Monty, can you come and help the bird?
Well, look, see what the dog does when he pants? Look for gas for air. Yeah. So we let him go now.
I want to touch the tail.
hold on. I gotta let him go.
Alvin, just let him go.
Woohoo!
Poor old cow. Why?
Marianne has led a colorful life. At 17, a Bible scholar. At 21, a truck-driving lay preacher. At 30, a mother of 4. At 45, a widow. She says her faith comes from God, her strength from her family.
This is my mother's parents. Granddaddy Horwood, his name was Elijah, and his wife is Marianne Pye, and that's who I'm called after. He fished for cod on Cape Charles on the Labrador, and he was a very real old English gentleman. He was the only grandparent I ever knew. They came and they settled in and they made a new life for themselves. And I think it was, they were very courageous, very, well, brave, obviously, as I said, courageous, but it was hard going for them. But they managed, and they worked together, and they formed a community, and hung in.
Hanging in is something the Wheeler kids are doing, barely. 2 days into their quest, life in the suburbs of the future looks pretty good.
Oh my God. You shouldn't have took full.
Was the water heavy?
Yes, very.
What do you think it weighs?
A lot. It's too heavy for me.
How are you managing with that, Elliot?
Well, this is my chore. It's so hard. I have to go to an outhouse, though. An outhouse to pee and do other things. And I walked in and I was like, Dad, cool, magazines. And my dad's like, those aren't for reading. I haven't tried to milk a cow yet. 'Cause,
All this is like get water from the well and get firewood for the stove and get the eggs from the chicken coop and I don't like the bed.
What do you think of that, kids? She's not going anywhere very fast. I'll eat my shirt. Woo.
is that hard or what?
Yeah, I'm out of breath. But I think we've done a good job. Okay, good.
For the young Murray children, Hay Cove is a sanctuary, a place to imagine, a place to wonder. But in the Hay Cove of 1937, childhood was fleeting. Games and toys were soon replaced by chores and burdens. At 12, boys fished. At 14, girls left home or married. One way or the other, everybody worked.
Well, and when I was 14, I had to leave school because Mom had a baby. You get up in the morning and you get breakfast for the men, and then you'd wash the dishes, and then you get ready for the dinner. I didn't do as much cooking but I was the one for cleaning up more, like wash the dishes and peel the vegetables and make the beds and clean the mats and that type of stuff.
The men of the outports knew the seas, like a farmer his fields or a carpenter his tools. Tides, currents, winds, all clues to finding fish. The families are new to the waters off Hay Cove, so Fred Burton, who fished here as a boy, will show them the fishing grounds. Their boats are period-appropriate trap skiffs, 16 feet long and made of wood. Fred knows them well. When he was a boy, their make-and-break engines were the muscle and the music of the outports.
Fishing grounds now?
Well, we should be. I'm not positive sure. We're going to have, there's a, what we call a rock art, there's a shoal, and it's a good place for fish right here.
Now I can measure the depth here if you want.
Yeah, all right.
Sit there at the bottom.
But it's not finding fish that concerns Fred. It's the weather.
How thick, how dense would the fog get out here?
Oh, pretty dense. You know, you wouldn't be able to see any more than probably 20 feet on times. Without your compass, you'd be pretty well lost, because it's a funny thing in fog. You hear the, you know, the wave on the shore, and you think it's that way instead of this way. You would have to be out in the fog to realize what I'm talking about. But it just turns you around completely.
And the weather would change so fast, sometimes you wouldn't have time to get back, or if you had engine trouble, or getting lost in the fog, or, you know, there's 101 things that could go wrong. You don't tempt fate. You don't second guess the weather. When it gets dirty, you come in while you can, and you do. I mean, if you're careful and you don't try to be too much of a smart ass, you'll survive on the water.
At the Wheeler house, the cupboards are bare.
I'm just looking at the shelves here. Come look.
So, where's all the food gone?
Well, I guess it is being consumed.
Outports received supplies 2 or 3 times a year. At the end of the long Newfoundland winter, some villages starved. The merchant supply boat will arrive soon, but no one knows when.
You know, 6 days of living off nothing but what you have in the cupboard and having to make sure you don't use too much butter. It's hard to live like that. And so I think that the merchant coming is really exciting. I mean, we don't have stores or malls to go to here to get new things. I mean, the only thing we have is the merchant.
How long could you feed a family with what you have left?
Well, we could feed them with potatoes and carrots and a few turnips, but after tomorrow we won't have any bread. We haven't even any crackers or hard bread.
At the Murrays, food is also short. Annie feeds 5 mouths 3 times a day. And although her quest has just begun, she is tired.
I had to adjust to this lifestyle here. Being from the city, I always had to run to get everything done. And I did the same thing here when I arrived here, and it burnt me out.
Can you not get the neighbors to do more to help you? Can Marianne or Anna, people at the Wheeler house, not come and help?
Well, they seem quite busy already too, and well, I know maybe Anna seems like she has lots of free time for sure, but I don't feel very comfortable to go and ask her to do anything.
Why?
I asked her to do a task in the garden a couple days ago or yesterday, and it didn't get done. I should invite her over and say, well, come and help me to peel the potatoes or things like that, but I don't know if she would react to that.
Yeah, Annie says she finds her life very tiring.
Well, she's been on the go, and I hope she's not going to keep up the speed that she's going, because she'll get tired out. I would think.
This week you cried twice.
Yeah, I was so tired that I cried a little bit.
No, you cried what? Twice.
Yeah, but now I'm
you've
fine,
been crying
guys.
for a long time.
Yeah. Don't make me cry again now.
Yeah, I want to make you cry.
The fact that Harold lives in this house makes me work a lot more around the stove, because he eats a lot, and also sometimes I get the feeling that he aggravates Monty's mood a little bit. Monty being strong-minded and yeah.
Sherman, like Harold, were common in the outports. Lacking the skills to skipper their own boats, they worked hard and said little. From mending nets to shearing sheep, it was all part of the job.
Now, Harold, you actually have done this, have you?
I've never done it.
Well, I thought you did this when you were a boy in the outports.
Well, I see my mother do it and my folks and friends, but that's okay. I'm up to the task. Lying down, over.
Yeah, we might need you here too, Monty.
Monty. I felt I had to do it, you know. This is what we're doing, the 1930s, so this is what I would have to do in them times.
You know who else is annoying? Harold. Listen to this. This is mint. This has to be mint. He's a model. Oh my God, look at this. That's Harold. That's right, folks. He's a model.
Day 6. The Placentia Bay fog has arrived. Sound carries well in the still air, and Anna and Elliot hear an engine. It's the supply boat.
So what are you hoping comes on the boat?
Fruit.
Fruit. What else?
Games, like checkers and chess. And more flour for bread.
Food and games, tools and tackle. The merchant brought it all.
Oh my! What a rush! Every which way.
The merchant's coming, guys.
We'll just have a quick bite to eat there.
What do you think, Ellen? Dad, go see the merchant. Come on, Dad.
So we might have all kinds of goodies for us. It's all right, let's go.
Outport families had a difficult and sometimes bitter relationship with merchants. And the Hay Cove settlers are about to find out why.
You went to buy salt, a lot of salt, different things for the boat. The time you'd pay for it all, you had nothing, you still wasn't dead. Yeah. They sings a song about it now, about we come home in the fall with nothing at all. And the last verse says he's still in the hole. When he was put down in the grave, they said he's still in the hole. You've heard that one, I suppose. Oh dear, oh dear.
On a calm 1937 morning, the merchant arrives with supplies for the families.
Welcome to Hay Cove.
Merchants rarely visited isolated villages like Hay Cove. Orders placed in the fall would not be delivered until the ice broke.
And you would be Mr.?
Mr. Wareham.
Mr. Wareham. And you would be the merchant from the area?
Yes, from Spencer's Cove. It's been a family business now for 100 years, supplying general merchandise and groceries and hardware all through the bay for as long as anyone can remember.
This delivery must last all summer.
More raisins. Have we got more raisins?
Tins of milk, sacks of oats, crates of tea, and even a small luxury.
Oh, there's cocoa. That's good. Oh, there's some hot chocolate. That's wicked.
Chocolate!
So what do we have now, Keith?
This is half the salt. They want it loose like that. They salt the fish in the shed. It was all shoveled by hand and carried in barrels.
We got lots of fish now. So what happens with this stuff now, Ralph?
We're going to store it up here in the stage, and this is used for salting down our fish. Salt them down for 10 or 15 days, then we take them out and put them on the fleet.
So how do the supplies look?
Very good. I was hoping to get some curry, but I don't know.
Were the merchants feared?
For the most part, they weren't well liked. But
were they trusted?
I got my doubts.
There was little cash in the outports. Supplies were bought on credit and paid for by the season's catch. No one knew if the fish would come in, but everyone knew the bill
I
would.
figure you need 25 kennels of fish to cover that for the summer. So I'd like for you guys just to sign for this.
A kental is 112 pounds of dried fish. To settle the debt, they must catch about 6 tons of cod by hand.
So when your grandfather was here and he had ledgers full of debts that couldn't be paid, what would he do with them?
Some of the ones he would just take them and tear the sheets out and use them to light his fire. Well, he just looked at it as it wasn't really the fault of the fishermen. They all had good intentions to pay, but some of them just couldn't do it. The money just wasn't there, and the fish wasn't caught.
An insightful moment when we pulled the boat up, and he waited until we had gotten the boat well clear of the water before he stepped onto the land to shake our hand and introduce himself. You get a real sense of how powerful these men were in those days. They held your future. You were left with your summer supplies, but no real indication of what you might be worth come the fall and when you had to pay back the merchant.
Sunday morning, a time for the routines of family life, no matter place or century.
No, that's lukewarm, isn't it?
The Wheelers are a city family. Ralph is a busy dad who wishes he had more time for his children. He hopes his life in the past will build a bridge to the future.
Why didn't I just do it like sit in a chair? Put my hair.
Let me get
into
some soap. That's it. Get it nice and wet. Your
it.
head.
That's what Mom always does. Ugh. We're sharing sheep. Is it cold? Milking cows. Getting us some eggs.
Okay, ready? Deep breath.
No! Okay. Here comes the big guns. Is that it?
Yep. Just blot it.
Dad?
Here.
I've lived with this hair for 14 years. I think I know what to do.
Okay. Anna's 13 going on 21. And that was reflective before we got here. It hasn't changed completely yet. She still has her moments.
My dad has changed a lot since we got here. I mean, I think it's because the stresses of the real world are gone and we're left. You know, we're kind of left bare. We built up a resistance to each other. So, and all that has been like, oh, he didn't drive me somewhere. Oh, he promised to do something. Oh, he never got home for supper. But he cares so much out here. And there's no hiding anything here, so that's a big thing about it.
I think sometimes she's actually showing me a little bit more respect and gee, Dad, you know, you can do some of these things that you talked about and the way you live. And that's a little bit of a nice thing to see in a father-daughter.
At the Murrays, it's the usual family chaos. This morning, everyone is off to church.
Finally got to shave after about a week.
You have it shaved? Let me see how that looks.
Yeah, I got a few cuts on my ear.
Yeah, let me see your cuts here.
Why? Still bleeding, eh?
Yeah.
We're going for a nice walk today. Do we have the bag of well, I feel like I'm missing something there.
Marianne? Marianne? Would you like your walking stick?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's what I got it for.
Hay Cove is one of 4 small outports on Long Island. The Anglican Church is an hour away in Harbour Buffett. The Catholics walk another 15 minutes to Port Royal. And occasionally, everybody walks to Kingwell, where the local bootlegger lived. On Sundays, the residents of Hay Cove walk to church and back twice. Even their day of rest was tiring.
We went to church in the morning because it was the thing, well, we wanted to go too, and the thing to do. We went to church at night, partly to meet the young fellas.
Sunday for us, it's a family day. We usually try not to be busy with anything, like we don't go shopping or just take that day for be together and relaxing a bit.
When was the last time you went to church?
Well, my family doesn't go, but I still go.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Why is that?
because I think it's important.
Marianne was just saying that she thought a lot of teenagers don't think it's important. Well, tell me why.
Because it's God.
Hi, good. How are you? Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to see you.
At Harbour Buffett, Marianne meets an old friend, Lloyd Collett. He's an Anglican minister who has come to conduct the service.
I'm telling you, isn't it wonderful? He's looking some good, bud.
Thank you. Sunday was a very, of course, extremely special day, and I mean, Sunday was a day you did nothing on no work whatsoever, with the exception of going to church.
I'm not, I'm sorry.
How you doing?
It was part of the lifestyle. You didn't question it at all. Mom and Dad would say to you, now, put on your clothes, get ready, and you'd have it would be the best clothes you had.
Every morning.
The churches of Newfoundland set up gospel circuits. Priests traveled by boat and often preached in the open air. When the seas were bad, a town elder would fill in.
There shall they lie
In the outports of 1937, the word of God was always heard.
I will feed my flock.
There was a community spirit that existed among the people. My sickness was your sickness. My worries was your worries. We were concerned with one another. There was that community.
But sometimes you knew when people was really sick. They used to call gatherings then. They'd go around and pick up food from house to house, like, and carry to them. And the men would go in and have a day in the woods cutting wood for those people, and they'd go and saw it all up and put it in the store. And that's how they used to survive, one after the other.
It is the end of their second week, and already there is tension at the Wheeler house. Ralph likes to cook. In 1937, this would not have happened.
Oh, you're gonna cut.
But Marianne is tired, and Anna won't help. Changes must be made.
Cutting them small to try and disguise them from the
You're
kids.
going to, Ralph is very good. He brings the water and gets the wood and helps out when he's there, so it's not all on my shoulders. And
it seems that we're cooking all the time, though.
it takes an awful lot of time to cook. At first, when we got together, I mentioned to your father about the possibility of you both doing this, that, and the other thing. And rightly or wrongly, I got the impression from your father that he felt it was too much for you. And if I asked you to get a pail of water, he jumped and got a pail of water. So I quit asking you to do anything because I didn't think it was fair on your father to be doing your work. The way it is now, as you all know, we sit down and eat, and as soon as the last bite is into you, I'm left here with a great big table full of dishes, and I'm here till it's time for me to go to bed. Now, I want you to all be very,
jobs then or something?
very frank and say, if you think I'm wrong, well then say so now. Now is the place to say it. Don't go upstairs and talk about me behind my back and say, she didn't mean it all bitch, you know, that what does she expect and all this.
You know, as far as the kids go, I think they need to be reminded from time to time.
Okay.
They're kids, trust me, and they need reminding, just as they need reminding every night to brush their teeth.
Okay. I don't think they should have to be reminded. Anna gets up she doesn't have to be reminded about going and feeding the chickens.
No.
She gets up every morning,
Because
she
I know
goes
I have
and
to
feeds
do
the
that.
chickens. And that's it.
In this community, who had more powerful, or any outport community, the grandmother with the big ideas would be up here. I would be at the bottom. I can see why kids from the outports, when they left, they didn't want to come back. I can see how they could have evil grandmothers and how they felt like girls had no say in anything.
The men have been reluctant to go to sea. They don't trust the boats, and there are whitecaps in the bay, so they've stayed close to home. In the outports, they'd have been called hang-ashores.
Out of the water is nothing to fool around with. And we're fishing so close to shore, the wind blows up, and you got trouble with the motor, you're going to have some trouble, right?
So, and that's what we're talking about. It's being confident in our vessels once we get out there.
We don't have to do what they did. They had to brave the elements. They had no choice. When weather was bad, if the fish was running, they never had any for a while. Didn't matter how dirty it got. They had to go. I don't have to go. I wouldn't be that foolhardy.
There's an old saying, it's time to fish or cut bait. And I think it's time to fish.
The men of Hay Cove are all Newfoundlanders who in their own way have come home. They are the sons of generations of fishermen who respected and feared the sea. As the time to fish approaches, they sense the danger of facing the Atlantic in their small wooden boats. And they feel the pain of leaving loved ones behind. Something the men of the outports felt most days. For 11-year-old Elliot Wheeler, life in the Newfoundland outport of Hay Cove is not too bad. He misses his friends and wishes he had a video game, but Elliot has found his place.
So how are you liking this so far?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, what's fun?
The animals. Yeah.
The year is 1937, a time of chores and routines, fresh milk and warm eggs.
Stinks.
Elliot is one of a group of people living in this remote community. And on this day, the sun is shining and the neighbors are friendly. For a modern city kid, life in the past could be worse.
Here's an egg.
Hey, thank you. Wow, you're so good to me, Elliot. They're nice and warm too, eh?
Yeah.
Right on.
Today I'm going to take you on a visit to Hay Cove as it might have existed around that time. Everything you see will be exactly as it was back then. Even the people you see will be dressed in the same clothes as they were back then and doing the same kinds of work as people did to make a living. Here's the outhouse. This is what it looks like. Anna, what are you going to do with that axe? Whoa! This is my room. I share it with my dad. This is the bathroom. I brush my teeth with baking soda.
And this is the kitchen, don't you know?
Hay Cove is a traditional cod fishing village in Placentia Bay. A place where poor men harvested rich waters for 20 generations. The men fished for food and fished for work, but most of all, they fished because it was what they knew, and they loved it.
How you doing?
Ralph Wheeler is Elliot's dad. A university professor from the city, he's what locals call a townie. This is his first day at sea, and like the others, he's keen to catch some fish. In 1937, an educated man like Ralph would have had his cod delivered. But Ralph's here to see if he has the skills of his ancestors, and he wants to teach Elliot how to fish.
Is there a particular skill to this?
Yeah, the skill is in finding your position. You know, once you're on the fish, and they're taking bait, it's pretty well just put your hook down and pull them back up.
At Hay Cove, Ralph's daughter Anna is coming to terms with outport life.
Newfoundlanders must have had a love-hate relationship with the sea. If it's good to them, they love it because they've learned to live like this day in, and it's just like the way we live. They've gotten used to it, but they hate it because you hear so many stories about people drowning and lost at sea. It's just another part of their life.
While Ralph is at sea, Mary Ann Graham runs the Wheeler house. She knows the kids are lonely, and she knows what they need. Some fun.
I'm here to take over your outport. Give me your cow, house, and all your valuables.
You wouldn't shoot me with your arrow.
Yes, I would.
Oh, you're really serious?
Yes.
Let's fight with fists. Then. Get away.
No, rascal! You villain!
You old crusty, flaky biscuit!
I'm gonna get you and you're never gonna come back!
I'll have your guts for garters!
No, you won't!
At 75, Mary Ann is the definition of feisty. She's raised children of her own and knows shared laughter builds trust.
How's that?
Housekeeping seems to be going better. Anna and Elliot are doing more chores. We seem to have a better feeling towards each other. And I guess that had to take time.
Getting close to Anna is not easy, and Mary Ann has tried hard. But a 75-year-old and a 14-year-old in the same kitchen can sometimes be a recipe for trouble.
Oh, I think it's all done, Anna. Woo! Look!
Look at that beautifulness.
Look, it was never as good as that before with that up. We found a way. Take the grate out.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Soft on the inside, crisp on the outside.
I made bread that kicked her bread's butt. It was the best bread ever made in this house. And she kind of took over, which was really annoying because it was my bread and I kicked her bread's butt. And it was soft, like a cloud.
At the end of the day, the families are keen to see the results. More than pride is at stake. The livelihood of the community depends on the men's fishing skills.
Don't think he got any fish. No, I don't think Dad got any fish.
That means Marianne's cooking tonight.
Yeah, Marianne's cooking tonight. Yeah.
You don't think your dad got any fish?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I think he needs Elliot's touch.
Yeah. Did you think?
Well, what was the feeling, Monty, when you got it like on the hook?
Monty Murray is a happy man. He has shown his sons that he really can fish.
Whoa!
Fish, hey.
What does it taste like?
20 fishes! That's all 20 fishes I can do right for Marianne's caught. Look at this one. Look at his tongue. His big tongue.
For Ralph, it's been a bad day. Elliot and Anna were right. He hasn't caught anything.
Can I move that one, Dad?
Monty was raised in a fishing family. He believes fishing for cod is his birthright, and he's teaching his boys the same.
What are you getting to do that you didn't think you would be able to do?
Rolling on the boat with you?
Is that right? You didn't think you were going to come out on the boat with me, eh? No. So what do you think of being able to do that?
I like catching fish.
Yeah? So you're going to hand line a few, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Maybe take the tiller one of these days?
Yeah.
Yeah? In the 70s, when I was fishing with the old man, like all the fishermen were telling the local politicians what was going on. You know, the fish are not coming back. And they always said, oh, we did this study and it's just the water temperature this year. Or it was the salinity this year. And there was some kind of BS story every time. And, you know, the thing was, too many fish were being taken by too few people. It wasn't the inshore fishermen at all.
Oh, good Lord.
How much?
Half a cup.
At the Wheeler house, Ralph, too, is teaching his son how to cook.
Here's raisins.
Okay, put the raisins in.
How much?
A couple of handfuls.
Couple of
She'll
handfuls.
like-
That's
Elliot doesn't like what Marianne makes, and Anna wants to cook for herself.
Yes, 1 spoon.
Ralph knows his way around the kitchen and thinks his children should learn too.
I feel like one of those old people that sit at home, drink tea, and look out the window.
See who's going by all the time. Comment on them.
Ralph and Monty are two sides of Newfoundland. Town and bay, present and past. Both are proud men, and both are determined to make Hay Cove their home.
Be home, baby.
Monty's wife, Annie, leads a life of cooking, cleaning, and most of all, feeding.
I got water or milk?
Water. Milk.
Please?
Please.
So make sure you get your rolls up, right?
Oh yeah, I'll just make sure everyone's happy first.
We're always the last to eat, so
That's alright.
join us.
Milk and water for to drink. I got tea.
I'd love a cup of tea, baby.
When she first arrived, she cried with exhaustion. But Annie has grown stronger and now makes endless cups of tea. No one lifts a hand to help her. If they did, she'd say, "Oh, sit down, dear, have another cup." Monty calls her Saint Annie.
How's this, my love?
Because the Mounties always get their man. When last we left the captain, he was riding through the rolling slopes of Cypress Hills in hot pursuit of the notorious
At bedtime, a luxury. The radio is turned on, and Annie's children find peace in her arms.
captain and his faithful partner, Officer Tesco.
Hurry, Officer Tesco. If Dynamite Jones gets away, no bank this side of the Quappelle Valley will be safe.
Few outports heard the sounds of the outside world. Batteries were expensive, and the reception was weak. The Murray youngsters are children of the computer age, and these distant voices, a mystery. But heroes and villains, adventure and courage are as timeless as a mother's love.
Mother did everything. She had to do, you know, the housework and make the fish, had to see it. I guess she washed out sometimes, but she's more or less looking after things when Father was away. She gave the orders, and you do what you were told.
Monty thinks they're escaping on the beach. It's 4:30 this morning, and we're going to get the cast net now to get some bait. There he is.
There was time when this beach would be buried under 2 feet of cable. But they're all gone away to codfish, disappearing. Capelin will be rolling here, just wave after wave of capelin.
Day 18. The capelin have arrived. In 1937, this beach would have echoed with seagulls as schools of capelin turned the waves to foam. Cod feast on these small sardine-like fish, and even these few are a healthy sign. It means there's good fishing to be had in the bay.
For the whole cove. Capelin, buddy, come on over and check it out. Oh, you got one, Max, there, look.
Come on, here, wiggling one.
Look at that, there's a nice scoop of capelin for you. Oh.
The families need the capelin for bait, and they work hard to land as many as they can.
They're freaking me out.
But someone is missing. Harold has slept in.
Hey, Harold. Yeah. It's 10 o'clock there, buddy. Okay.
Harold is the son of a fisherman, but he lives in Toronto, where he's more used to taking the subway to work than a dory. At Hay Cove, he works for Monty, and Monty is not happy. Outport fishermen left before dawn. On this day, it's after 11. In the 30s, fishermen would fill their skiff with cod in a morning.
Step in, don't let go, don't let go. Move further up. Well, Harold, move further up in front of the boat, please. We gotta pull her back and have her stem in. You're hooked in your hand line.
But Harold's clumsiness is tinder to Monty's temper. And although the bay is full of cod, they don't catch anything.
Harold got Monty's fishing line tangled up in the boat, and they were in the other boat, and I could observe what was going on. And Monty became very irritated and gave Harold a little bit of criticism and worked him over a little bit verbally. Harold confided in me later to say that he wasn't really upset with it, but I think he really was. The fact that Harold tangled up the fishing line shouldn't have been a big deal.
Living large in Hay Cove.
I suspect Monty overreacted a little bit, and Harold, I think, felt a little ill at ease and maybe a little bit disappointed in the way he was treated.
Monty comes back early, leaving Harold to untangle the line.
Yeah, what happened with the hand line?
Oh, how that happened, I was pulling in, and I had to go to the front of the boat, so I was running back and forth, and that's what happened. I got it tangled up my foot, not realizing, like, moving around, so I made a mistake. I should have had it reeled right up before I put it out again, so it got mangled up, so that was a big of a bugger.
So was that a frustrating day for you?
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah, I get the sense that it was. I get the sense you needed a bit of time to yourself when you got back.
Yeah, just to chill out a bit, right? In 1937, though, everyone from that would have known just about all there is to know about fishing, right? If you grew up around the airport and you fished around the airport, it was bred into you.
What would a skipper like you do if his chairman...
Well, wouldn't have to stop? Oh, he'd replace him, huh?
I feel that where I'm at border, the chairman in the house is kind of an uncomfortable feeling. I'm feeling it's a little bit of animosity and bitterness, which shouldn't be. I'm not here, like I say, for a competitive camp. The thing is, we're here as a team. It's not a competition. It's a bit of fun, and that's what, and hard work, as I just said, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm not here to prove anybody that I'm a better fisherman. I just want to reenact what they did in the 1930s and portray that.
Oh, I'll take care of that. That's all right there.
During the summer, Outport families ate well. Their sharemen did too. Harold eats like two men, and for the Murrays, that's a problem. Monty thinks Harold's a liability at sea, and Annie doesn't want him in her kitchen. Something has to change.
We talked about it, Monty and I, and we decided that Harold can stay here. He's got his room here. And I thought that it would be a good idea if Harold goes to Nan's there to cut some wood for her too and do different chores, that they would provide him with his supper every day. That'd be great. That'd be a great help for me and for our family to have a bit of time there to ourselves.
That evening, the Wheelers come to the Murrays to discuss new living arrangements.
I'm going to get in the rocking chair before.
Yes, before anyone else uses it. They're all swollen up.
Harold works hard. He just can't fish. And Monty wants to teach his sons, not his employee. Ralph's solution is to bring Harold into the Wheeler family. He'll sleep at the Murrays, but the rest of his time will be spent with Ralph, Mary Ann, Elliot, and Anna.
They felt that they needed a bit more family time, a bit more private time, and would we be willing to take him in for suppers, the evening meals, and so on. So we, I guess graciously or ungraciously, anyway, we agreed to do that. My kids get along well with Harold. I get along well with him, despite his bad jokes and repeated bad jokes, but I still think that he's a very honest person and a person that certainly I would, at this time, consider a friend.
It's good that you're always you're open for suggestions all the time. That's a good quality of you, Harold. You're a little bizarre. No offense. You're a little bizarre sometimes.
I think he just took that as a compliment.
You're a little crazy. Who's leading?
We're winning.
They're winning. I got caught with an 80 on it.
Yeah.
The Wheelers have grown fond of Harold. They say he has an open heart and a kind soul. Best of all, the kids can beat him at cards.
And I'm sick of this little Harold Monty thing going on. Harold loses all his confidence in front of Monty, and it's not fair. I mean, we've all gotten used to Harold in his weird way. I find him a pretty okay guy. He's actually the best one out of all of them now.
Well, that's what made good chairman. I mean, he was satisfied to do everything that's supposed to be done. They was good men. They like to keep up their end with everyone else, you know. You know, everyone that'll be in the boat will be trying to do their best. If you got in a little spot of fish, you just try to do, everyone will try to do their best to get all they could. You get up 3 o'clock, no later than 3. I don't know what caused it, but you can see the daylight all through the night over the hills. The sunlight, you see the sun is passing along just over the horizon, you know. Oh, it's a hard life. You just stand on your feet all day long, you know, it's a tiresome job. Tiresome.
Dawn at Hay Cove. The men begin the age-old routines of outport life, as regular as tides, as constant as heartbeats. On this day, they have gone far into the bay. Harold now fishes with Ralph. Monty fishes on his own. Within minutes, both boats find cod. And for men who claim there is no competition between them, they fish hard.
How many have you caught over there?
60 pounds.
King Cow! Woo!
Annie is a Quebecer who loves Newfoundland. Monty will not speak French, but she's determined to raise her children bilingual.
Mom, avec, c'est quoi tu veux dessus?
Du beurre.
Avec du beurre. Most of the time I speak French to them, and I try to get them to answer in French to me. It's very important to keep the language because they lose it really fast.
I want you to lose.
Have you tried to get Monty to speak some French?
Oh yeah. I try, but I'm not trying no more now.
The French and the English, the Vikings and the Basques. Newfoundland has seen them all. When the French came, they made Placentia their capital. Newfoundland still has a rich French culture. Some settlements are 500 years old. Today, the men have done their jobs and have caught a boat full of cod, and they are proud. But in 1937, this would have been an average day's catch.
We tried a couple of different spots, caught a few fish, and boy, we were on them in about 15 minutes.
So there are fish in that bay out there.
There's tons of fish in that bay. You just got to get on them and stay on them. We were fishing right till we pulled anchor and came back. Caught 2 at a time, you know, on 5 or 6 occasions, so there's plenty of fish.
Show me your catch. Let me see what you have.
That's a really good one, sir. We've probably got over 400 pounds.
400 pounds.
Some real nice fish among that. That was a load of fun, though. Harold was catching them on that jigger. And all of a sudden, he went deadly quiet. Is he okay? He said, yeah. Over the side.
It's been a good day, but not good enough. Like most outports, they are in debt and owe the local merchant 6 tons of fish.
Getting it out of the box, up on a table this way so I don't have to go around and collect them. And you want to get a nice clean cut down through here. So again, as in all these operations, a sharp knife is everything.
So how's the splitting going, Monty?
It's going pretty good. Catching on to it a bit, but it'll be a while before I can call myself a splitter.
What's the trick to it?
He's not cutting your fingers. Knowing how deep to put the blade is one of the tricks, right? To not cut through the back.
Splitters remove the backbone, the key position at the cleaning table. Harold, as the header, has the worst job. Ralph looks after the salting. If the fish aren't properly cured, maggots will set in and the catch will be worthless.
So how long do we leave it under salt for, Ralph?
Anywhere from 10 to 14 days. So yeah, it helps in the drying, curing it and preserving it. So well, I'm sure they were much more efficient at it. But basically the same kind of skills that they needed, we're developing. Everything is related to that final product of having a nice cured fish that, you know, looks good, and soak it overnight, and you've got a premium quality.
After salting, the cod are put on the flake to air dry, a job for women and children. Marianne has done this many times. She says it's hard work for little money.
So the trick is to get it dry,
Dry, but not sunburn. No, sunburned fish is yellow. Oh, that's good. Look how smart he is.
Who profits from this?
The merchants, of course. The local people will profit to a certain extent in that they'll get enough food for the winter and be able to make their bloomers out of calico sacks that the flour came in and all that sort of stuff, but not what they, in my point of view, not what they should have.
So you don't think they were paid fairly generally?
Oh, I don't think so. Maybe, obviously, I suppose there's honest merchants everywhere, and they had to pay their bills and keep their vessels going and their men and all the rest of it. But why should merchants become millionaires when fishermen were still had to scrounge for a living?
The Murray children, they're a joy. They're such fun to be with, and it gives me great comfort to be able to relate to them, to take them for walks, to show them how to do things. And little Alison just loves washing clothes with me. Oh, she loves that. You get her little hands on the scrubbing board and she goes right to town. It's fun. That's one of the pleasures, I guess, of living in isolation, is finding the pleasures in little things and little children.
Finding pleasure in small things is part of what made Outport life bearable. And if you looked and listened, there was plenty to be thankful for. Ralph is cooking britches, a traditional meal. Britches are cod ovaries, an Outport delicacy. But Anna and Elliot are from the city.
Oh, it tears apart.
Oh, good.
No, that's not a brick. It doesn't have eggs inside. I want to have a piece of that.
Okay, let me cut it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
It's looking at you.
It's gross. You're not going to get the chew squirt eggs. Oh. Oh.
Elliot.
You never even eat the gooey part.
Good God.
Oh.
You guys.
That's motley.
Townies. You can't do anything
That's
with
really
it.
gross.
It's not. No, not going to be on that.
Slowly chew it.
No, you were chewing on it.
Slowly.
What do you think, Marianne?
No comment.
No?
Did you take your sweater with you? It feels good. I'm so happy to go out of the house, out of the cove for a bit. We heard that there are going to be kids. So I'm making some molasses sandwich and fresh cream. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it. I mean, it's so good. What I miss the most is maybe going for little trips or going outside a bit more often and for a walk in the woods. You know, it's very rare that I get to kind of have some free time. There's always so many things to do. Let's have some fun.
Annie is having a day off. Isolated for over a month, the Murrays are going down the bay to Port Royal for a community reunion. It's her first time away from Hay Cove and one of her first days outside the kitchen.
Every party that you go to was only just a common dance or whatever to be dressed up with a tie. It mightn't be in the weekdays now, but if you went to a party or a wedding or in the hall or something, you'd be always dressed up with a suit on. Suit, shirt, white shirt and tie, and a blue serge suit or whatever they had in them days, you know.
tune thy rills. We love thee, smiling land. We love thee, we love thee, we love thee, smiling land.
300 people have come home to Port Royal for a reunion. 10 years ago, this village was in ruins, but the families pooled their money and rebuilt the community. Why? Because in Newfoundland, home is forever. The Han sisters organized the reunion.
The best gift we had was our mother and father. I mean, I've got a great family, great husband. There's nothing can touch the mother and father we had. And the love we had in this community. What brings us home but love? And it's so good to be back home again.
The one thing I loved was the smell of a bus. We had no odors here. The only odor we had was fish. And I remember Pop saying, Bernice, that's the bus. That's the fume, the gas, you know, on the bus would smell. And I said, Pop, I really like that smell.
I'm a proud Newfoundlander, and I feel that pride when I say my heart's on this island, it just can't be carried away.
I went in the house and the kids had oranges, and I wanted to know why they had oranges, and Aunt Jane said they were sick, and I remember saying, "You're some lucky to be sick because you have an orange."
I can say the same thing.
Never had any.
As the party wears on, Anna breaks out her fiddle and Harold puts on his dancing shoes. A lonely future has come to many parts of rural Newfoundland, but at Port Royal, pride of family has kept the ghosts away. Instead of ruins, there are homes. Instead of silence, there is music. All memories are worth fighting for, even the bittersweet. The summer of 1937 was a hot one. This one is too. The families rarely swim in the sea. The North Atlantic is just too cold. And with no baths in their houses, it's tough to stay clean. The kids need a swimming hole.
There we go. You okay?
As always, Harold is keen to help. And, as always, luck runs against him. A splinter has infected his finger.
Well, no, if you could feel it a little better, I don't mind having a bash at it. Jesus.
It's pretty wild.
Elliot! Elliot! I just want to go get some hot water.
I see it. Is that all puss?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So what happened to it, Harold?
I was clearing, and I got a couple of slivers in my finger, but I didn't realize till I woke up this morning it was puffed right out.
Is that it there?
In isolated outports like Hay Cove, small injuries often killed. Hospitals were days away, and few fishermen could afford a doctor. So many children died that families sometimes gave two children the same name, hoping one would survive.
Hey.
24 hours later, Harold is not feeling well.
Okay.
Looks pretty crude, doesn't it? But if it does the trick, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I went down.
Here comes.
Here comes. Just open up the...
Marianne has wrapped the wound in a bread poultice, a traditional cure, but it hasn't done much good.
So then, how long has this been traditional?
Since people came over from the old countries.
It's just mushy bread.
Mushy bread, yeah, and you're supposed to be warm, eh? That's just Just draws it out.
So you salt it down a bit, eh?
Just to wash your finger, no?
Okay.
Your finger in that, huh? What do you think, boys?
What do you think, Rob?
Just compare, look where your finger is.
Is it gonna fall off?
No. Go away with it. It's gonna fall off.
Oh, I mean the skin.
Ralph is worried about blood poisoning and decides Harold needs medical attention.
My name is Ken Tupp, and we're doing a film here, and we have an injured cast member, and we need some medical advice. I'm wondering if there's somebody there we can talk to. They don't have a doctor there now.
No doctor?
Well, we're going to have to make a decision, probably.
The production company's guide cannot get a doctor to come to Hay Cove. Harold must go to hospital. It is a difficult journey. Even today, Placentia Bay is dangerous, especially when the northeast wind blows. In 1937, it would have been impossible to make this crossing, and Harold's infection would have spread.
If someone gets sick, many people died in childbirth and stuff like that because they couldn't get in the winter time. No access to doctors or hospitals, and a job to get teachers. Because who want to go on Ireland and stay all winter with no access to nobody, no telephones, no nothing.
I'm not sure because I was picking at it.
2 hours from Hay Cove, Harold finally sees a doctor. The examination is brief, the cure simple, but the implications are not.
What I'm gonna do here, we have to keep an eye on your fingers. I'll give you some antibiotics, okay? No soaking in salt water.
So what would you suggest in regards of going out to sea? How many days would you figure I should
A week.
Stay away from the ocean?
A week.
A week?
A week. You should settle down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Harold must keep his hand dry. Fishing is out. At Hay Cove, there is work to be done and a debt to be repaid. They must fish. With Harold out of action, Elliot has to take his place.
I could really sense his anxiety and nervousness when we started out. The water was a little bit choppy. I think he might have gotten a little bit seasick because he was looking at the waves and not focusing on the land so he could keep his balance. But I think once we were out for a half an hour or so, he became a little bit more relaxed.
In 1937, boys became men with the turn of the seasons. At 11, Elliot would have fished with his dad. His school year's over.
Yeah. Don't say.
Anything on this water.
But it's a flounder.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, yeah!
There's one.
Ching!
There's
Score!
one. There's two! What do you think of that?
I caught one.
Two,
I
not
caught
one.
two.
For Ralph and Elliot, catching cod was a choice. But in the graveyard at Hay Cove lie fathers and sons who had no choice, dying together on the cold Placentia Bay waters. Although Harold can't fish, he is working. He knows the others are thinking of sending him home, and he's trying to hang on.
Do you think a community like this in 1937 could keep a shearman who couldn't fish?
Well, it'll probably look like I'll have to leave. Possibly I might have to leave the community because I wouldn't be, I'd be in the day. Actually, I would not expect them to nurse me.
If you have a shearman who's 45 and is good at chopping wood but can't fish, wouldn't you want to take in someone who can actually do the work that is required of them? I mean, it's simple as that. And it's only because we're in our 21st century mindset then we know that we don't have to live like this, that he's still here.
I have to really watch myself because I'm in a situation where on a line between both houses. So I have to really, I'm treading a thin line, so I have to watch what I say and how I react, and I have to cooperate, or either that I could get a bad message to move on somewhere else.
It is their 30th day in another time. The past is now their present, and their future unknown. To succeed in their quest, the families must understand why the men of the outports rarely fished alone. Fishing took a community, and it took skills they have yet to learn. The cod and the capelin, caught just days ago, were undersalted and have become infested with maggots. Decay has set in, and they must begin again. In the summer of 1937, the outport of Hay Cove, Newfoundland, was a haven. A place where men fished for cod or herring, and women washed and cooked, and raised children who played by the sea. Most of the outports are now gone, leaving little behind but memories of a culture lost and stories from a time that once was. But Hay Cove has been rebuilt. Once again, it is 1937, and the men are fishing for cod. The waters off the island of Newfoundland were once home to the great cod fishery. Along the coast, hundreds of small outports sprang up, providing homes to generations of men who worked the seas. They were places like Hay Cove in Placentia Bay. 2 Newfoundland families have been chosen to spend the summer in Hay Cove. Their quest? Live off the sea as their ancestors did.
I think I found either an eyeball or...
The Wheelers are from the city of St. John's, where Ralph is a university professor. His son, Elliot, is 11 and has settled in well. But his 14-year-old daughter, Anna, is not happy. Her problem? Mary Ann Graham, the 75-year-old grandmother who lives upstairs.
I'm sick of having to live with Mary Ann and her strong ideas and her beliefs, and how she doesn't mind telling us all about them, and how she thinks we agree, or she wants us to agree. She's a very strong-minded person, and she has no problem telling us her ideas, but when you don't agree with most of them, it's really hard to keep listening to them, you know? It just rots me, that's the thing. I have no say.
The neighbors are the Murrays, Monty, Annie, and their 3 children.
What would you say to people about your life in 1937?
It's isolated. Isolated. It's hard work. It's a steady grind.
Come on.
Monty is what Newfoundlanders call a bay man, a no-nonsense sort who tackles problems head-on. And right now, Harold St. Croix is a problem. Harold lives with the Murrays. He's their shareman, their hired hand. But Harold has injured his finger and cannot fish.
It's getting a bit better. I got to keep putting a glove on it. So, you know, it's improving. The swelling has gone down. It's still a bit sore.
He's a very good, kind-hearted person, but you gotta respect the fact, you know, that he can't do what is required of him. You can only chop wood and help on land so much, but in a fishing village, when fishing is what you need to do, that's just not gonna cut it.
Well, I guess today's mucky out, so there's a tea drinking, eh?
The families don't have enough food to feed someone who cannot fish. They must decide if Harold stays or goes.
If he was my chairman in '37, it would be out on the next boat.
It's just a tough life.
It was a tough life, and you know, if you're counting down your cupfuls of flour to September when the merchant was due in again, that would be many cups of flour that you could save, and beans and provisions.
I don't think if somebody hurt their finger or had an infected finger that they'd be shipped out. They would be cared for and looked after until they were well enough to go back and do a full duty.
Monty is Harold's boss, and he has the final word.
You do have the option of firing him.
Yeah. We're not going to go that far.
Like many Outport communities, the Hay Cove families are deeply in debt to a local merchant. They must catch 12,000 pounds of cod by hand to settle their bill. Most days, they catch 20 or 30 5-pound fish. At this rate, they'll fall short and will end the season broke.
Anything? No. We're at 2,500 pounds of fish caught. We've got a nice site picked out over here where we're going to spend some more time just working together.
I got to be able to bend it in my hand.
Okay, I need more to hook
pull it
up.
back.
I'm
Yep.
in front of you trying to bait a hook in it.
Yeah, I know. Well, let me get the hook right behind me, buddy.
But working together is easier said than done, especially hauling in the trawl. 400 meters long with a hook every meter. One good catch will fill their boat. But the men have not set it right.
What do you think's happened?
It's she's stuck to the bottom. And so much tension on it right now that the danger is, the risk is high that it could slip through our hands, right?
Outport fishermen lived under constant pressure. Monty and Ralph feel it too.
Oh, yeah, some tension on that.
They must catch fish to pay their debt. But the men are fishing as competitors, not friends.
He's on a little bit of an ego trip here. He knows everything about everything, and he wants everybody to know that and likes to tell everybody in great detail. We baited the trawl the other day, 400 hooks, and he basically commented on every single hook that I baited until I finally said, Monty, if you want to do it your way, then here, you bait the hook. So he baited the last 100 or so hooks.
The fishing grounds off Hay Cove are still rich with cod.
There we go.
Yet on this day, like many others, the boats come home half empty. Day 30. Annie and Marianne set out on an age-old Newfoundland ritual. Hidden in the Wild Rose Hills are a midsummer's treat, bake apples. These rare berries are found in the marshes of Newfoundland and nowhere else.
I don't know if this one's right. Pick it anyway.
Let me see those.
I got a little bit there.
And they taste slightly bitter.
Bittersweet, yeah, it's very unique. The taste is. It's between I find it's between a bit of a raspberry and almost peachy a bit too.
They're a low-growing berry, and they're found on barrens, and you can get into very boggy, muddy spots.
Marianne and Annie have become close friends. In fact, Annie's children call her Nan. Outport women depended on each other, as men did at sea. Mother or sister, friend or neighbor, ties ran deep.
I think we sort of clicked when we first met. I find that we're almost like soulmates. We like the same sort of thing, and we think a lot of the same way I feel.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
Anna Wheeler has no friends here. At 14 and on the cusp of young adulthood, she is alone.
Well, this is a boring diary entry. Let's talk about something interesting. Oh yeah, there's nothing interesting around here. Okay, watch me for 3 seconds. This is what life is like every day. It's boring as like hell. It is. There is absolutely nothing to do.
Anna has lots to do. She just doesn't like her choices. When she came to Hay Cove, she agreed to look after the garden, an important job. The growing season is short, but vegetables will grow with a little work. Anna, however, has given up. But today is a special day. The mail has arrived. Although they must cross the island to pick it up, this is one chore they're happy to do.
It's really actually exciting because it's the closest thing to a phone call.
Dear Elliot, it's me, Ted. This isn't going to be a very long letter. No, I'm not. No, I haven't gotten a new GameCube game.
Elliot, it's 1937. What's a GameCube?
Oh, yeah, that's from Monica.
It's your daughter.
Oh, I guess she's using, I know what she's doing. She's using the calendar from the bathroom.
Outport families treasured their mail, which came weekly during the summer. But in the winter, Hay Cove could be iced in. Months might pass with no mail at all.
Where's your letter from?
My friend Matthew?
Now, Matthew's not your boyfriend, is he?
No.
Should I believe you?
I don't know.
It's just a male friend?
Yes.
Got some letters from my friend Matthew. Yeah. Here's a part of this letter. Hold on, see, this says a lot of stuff. I want you to know that I spent a lot of time over the summer thinking about us, and we do mean a lot. Touching moment. I love getting letters because it feels like when you live here day to day, you kind of forget, you know, I forget what's going on at home, and I feel like this is my life and this is the only thing I have, and you know, it goes on day after day like this, and then you go, oh, you got mail, and then you open it and it's like nothing has changed, and it's like it really, really, really does feel like there's another world.
There was nothing there than just the bare place. There was no people there. And I'd be home with one half the family, the other half all around the pets, we call it. And then, you know, so there was lots of days that you were lonely if you got the time to think about it for the rest of your family.
Listen, what are we going to do about this Saturday night now, this party?
Yeah, because we got to start working tomorrow, eh?
The women are throwing a party. After 6 weeks of isolation, Annie and Marianne have invited the neighbors over. Even Anna is keen to help.
And Elliot and I want to make cookies.
Oh, good.
Which we'll do.
I think we should have a couple of things in the fish line, say the mussels and the chowder, which I'll help Anna do if she wants me to. And
Cookies and chowder, chocolate cake and bake apple jam. Outport women did a lot with a little. But it all took work, which makes life at the Wheeler house difficult. Ralph spends his days at sea, and Marianne is tough on the kids. Baking for the party is anything but fun.
Put that in that water. That water. Oh, you may wash your hands first. What?
Wash my hands in that?
In the pan over here. So if there's any dirt there under your nails, anywhere it has to come out, and I'll inspect them. We don't need any contamination.
Marianne's rules make sense. Clean hands keep disease away. But for Anna, it's a matter of power, not reason.
Okay. Put the sugar in that bowl and sprinkle a good heaping tablespoonful of yeast over the top.
And like most 14-year-olds, she resents being told what to do.
I don't know why she got mad at me for being lazy. I had no idea how to do any of that stuff. I didn't even know how to make butter or anything. I didn't know anything. I was just a city kid coming in here.
We get on each other's nerves. I know sometimes I get agitated. Sometimes I think that if this carries on much longer, the kids and we're going to go a bit nutty.
Meanwhile, out on the bay, the wind is rising. Harold has begun fishing again, and he and Ralph have freed the trawl.
West or southwest? South.
It is heavy and dangerous to haul in. 400 fish hooks can do a lot of damage. Ralph has brought some boards to keep the trawl straight, but they're too small. He needs Monty's.
You don't have those wide boards, do you?
Five like that?
Not the wide boards.
Boy.
They're too thin.
But Monty misunderstands and sails away. Moments later, Ralph strikes fish.
Fish on! Your job is a bait, Harold.
You got a big fish, but we're out of the little.
Morning. How's the fishing this morning?
Oh, not real good. I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. Didn't get a whole lot.
It has been another bad day of fishing for Monty. He's catching enough to feed his children, but his share of the debt still looms.
Forecast calls for high wind,
But those small ones we can put in the pan there and they'll...
This is a real small one.
Right on.
Monty is a proud man who knows to keep his family out of poverty, he'll have to work longer days in more dangerous seas.
You gotta have a lot of respect for the people who lived this lifestyle for so many years and enjoyed it, didn't complain about it. It's extremely busy, and it's hard work, it's steady work.
At 9 p.m., and the warm evening settles over Hay Cove. For generations, Newfoundland fishermen worked from the dark of morning to the dark of night. For the families, the sound of the homecoming engine was both a relief and a reminder. The day was not over yet. No one rested until the cod was cleaned and salted. No one ate until the work was done. Ralph and Harold have fished all day. Monty, who came home early, has missed out. Competition between fishermen is inevitable. But at Hay Cove, there is also competition between cultures. Ralph is from the city, Monty from the bay. But the sea is a great equalizer, and their past lives mean nothing to the Atlantic.
How's it going over there, Monty? Not too dark. Of course, you've split enough now just to go by feel, I suppose. Huh?
Ralph and Monty respect each other's skills, but both are tormented by a difficult question. Are they the men their forefathers were? With their sons looking on, they compete to find their answers.
We're just getting ready for our visitors of the week. We got some musicians coming in, and we're going to have a old-fashioned kitchen party tonight. So we've got about 70 pounds of mussels that we're going to boil up here. We'll take them, saute them this afternoon with a couple of onions from the garden. They should be nice as a side dish.
A little Chardonnay, you
Little Chardonnay, and we'll be all set. Yeah. We have some escargot later on as well. So.
It's hot.
That'll cool off a little bit. They're a bit warm. These are periwinkles.
Periwinkles.
Anna's favorite and Annie's, and these are mussels.
It's good for the party, eh?
Good for
the party.
What do you have there, Annie?
I got the chocolate cake. This was my part for the supper tonight, the dessert there. I did quite well with what I had.
Great.
Yes.
Monty, you're looking good.
Cleaned up pretty good.
Dressed up, handsome on a Saturday night.
There was a time when the Warehams would have been regular visitors to Hay Cove. They're from Harbour Buffett, the outport next door. After 200 years, their family moved away in 1967 when the jobs dried up.
It's almost 40 years, so why do you still go back now?
Because of the memories, the good memories that we had growing up. And I can go around Harbour Buffett, as I'm sure Perce can, and all my brothers and the family, and sit on a stump or a rock and think about just good, really good memories. And it's good for the morale, it's good for the spirit, and it's good for the soul. Just to get back there.
House parties may have been good for the soul, but they were bad for the liver. Newfoundlanders can party like cod can swim, endlessly.
Mostly have dances in the kitchen, and some of the houses had smart kitchens on it, and a whole bunch of them would take the stove, the fire to be out, of course. Some would take down the furnace and take out the stove and move the stove out in the yard, out in the garden somewhere, and then to make more room for dancing, see?
In 1937, 4 families lived at Hay Cove. And like all families, they created garbage.
This is one of these quality moments with your kids. Here's one, now look.
Yeah. What is it?
A saucer. Made in England.
Yes. Full saucer. Look at that.
We're finding everything from bits of broken pottery to chamber pots, broken chamber pots, medicine bottles, all kinds of things. I guess back then they didn't really have a central garbage. They just threw it out into the pond here. I guess that's what they did to a large extent. It seems logical that they would have walked straight out and just flung it out into the pond. So there's lots of it here. It's tedious going, hard on the hands, but Elliot seems to enjoy it.
We found this piece on the first day. And today we found this piece. And it matches. Cool. So they didn't swim in here, they threw their junk. This was their junkyard. Yeah. And I found some artifacts in the back of our house. So. As Harold would say, one man's junk's another man's treasure. Yeah.
The Murray children, too, have found something special.
Come and see them. They're little babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? We saw them part one day we were kissing.
We found them up in the woods.
We were cutting trees, and then we saw them jump out, and we caught them. Mitchell caught one.
First I thought it was a muskrat.
What are we gonna do with them, guys?
Maybe we can let them go back in the woods tonight. Yeah.
Little boy, you're probably missing your mom and dad.
They're sad, and they're real scared.
So what do you want to do, Wilson? You want to bring them back home to their mom and dad? We should. I know you want to keep them, baby, but do you think their mom and dad misses them? Oh, it's okay. That's a tough decision, isn't it? It's not easy.
Monty believes making hard decisions is good for his children. He teaches them respect. He teaches them discipline. But most of all, he teaches them to be strong.
How about we leave them there?
Bye.
Okay? And we'll come get the barrel tomorrow.
And see if they're gone.
Yeah, but they'll probably be gone tomorrow anyway.
We have no refrigeration here. We keep all the food in the pantry. And the problem is my pantry is getting really warm, especially when my stove is working hard. Like all morning today I had the stove going for baking bread and cooking my food. So I have a problem that my milk is turning sour. Usually I always cook a big meal so I have some leftovers for the day after. But overnight the leftovers are turning bad.
Leftovers are every mother's best friend, especially in large families. Annie needs a cooler. And Monty knows just what to do. Electricity didn't come to many outports until after the Second World War. Food spoilage was common. But a broken water barrel placed in a hole in the forest makes an ideal outport refrigerator.
Probably some kind of a mini cellar or something, I guess.
When it comes to looking after his family, Monty usually finds a way.
Woohoo! Thank you, man.
You're welcome, baby.
Wow. Here we go. See that? It should be nice and cool in there.
Keep ice cream in there now, baby. Huh?
You guys are a pretty good team.
Oh, we are.
Yeah. You always work together so well?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
There you go.
Time to go get milk, is it, baby? Let's go. Come on.
Making me jealous now.
Come on, Mabel, Mabel. Come on.
On the evening of their 40th day, the families meet to discuss their remaining food supplies.
What we may have to do, I think, is take stock of all vegetables that are there and decide how much we're going to have per week per person.
I know I packed on 25 pounds before I came here, so...
So are you suggesting you'll starve for the group for the next 2 weeks? Is that the idea?
I'm on a diet.
Well, we can catch up, you know, if we had somebody who would go on a total fast for the next 2 weeks.
I think it's unfair that we who are consuming the goods didn't have a say in how much was there. I think it's also unfair that we should suffer with if the cellar wasn't done properly. And I just don't think it's right. I mean, did the people have starve in the 30s?
What they had in 37 is irrelevant. What we've got is what we've got. I think for the immediate future, if we split the potatoes and the carrots, then you can budget.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I would say there's about 130 in there.
Oh, there are way more than 100 potatoes. There's definitely not going to be enough left for the whole summer.
The families are worried the vegetables are running low. Anna and Elliot have been sent to count what's left.
These are like soggy with mold, and that's just rotten.
We have about 50 turnips, 40 carrots, 150 potatoes, and 100 good onions, and about 50 parsnips.
Yep.
What do you think?
I think we're either going to have to start eating less, or we could just eat it all and then starve.
Sounds probably like eating less.
Yeah.
Outport families relied heavily on their gardens. Seaweed or rotting fish mixed into the soil made it richer. Annie has worked on her garden all summer, and her crop is bountiful.
Oh, cool.
Why'd you say, whoa, look at this?
Oh, look at this big turnip.
Big turnip. What size is your turnip head?
Look what we got out of our garden today.
First, only the beets were only that little. Now they're like this. Yeah. Some big, aren't they? Yeah.
The Wheelers have no garden. Anna grew tired of picking rocks and quit. In 1937, this would not have happened. The gardens were just too important. But the Wheelers have a plan.
I thought we could try to get to know each other before you're my dinner tonight. Maybe if you tried to be more compassionate to me, and things would have been different. Don't give me that attitude. See, even now you're not listening. I just feel bad because we have to kill him. But I want to watch.
Yeah, I'm the executioner on this job, I guess. I drew short straw on this one.
So what's the plan?
We're gonna go over and get him. He's there in the chicken coop, and dispatch him around the corner as efficiently, as effectively as possible, and get him in the pan by 5 o'clock.
Ralph's victim? One of their 2 roosters.
Father?
The noisy one.
Here's your broom sack. Don't do it. No. Here, I'll just, Okay.
My father's a cold-blooded murderer.
What's he doing there?
I don't want to know.
He's gonna beg the rooster. Dad!
Close next door. Okay, there you go, chicken. All right.
Oh my God!
Okay, just finish off.
Oh, jeez.
Now it's dead.
Yep. Just finishing off. That's what killing chickens are all about. Imagine doing 100 like that.
There you go. Is it good? Not really.
The bird is tough, the meat greasy, and the kids don't like the taste.
It's not that good, actually.
But it's a welcome change from cod and more cod. And by the end of the meal, the Wheelers have wasted little.
I remember one time we dug 40 barrels of potatoes 1 year just for our family. We had enough, for all. We sold some in the fall, and we had enough for all the winter. It was hard work.
Early August. The air is warm with promise and rich with summer perfumes. The families are trekking across the island to help some neighbors with making hay.
So this looks like a lovely day to do some haying.
It was beautiful.
This is a great idea.
Yeah, and enough wind so we won't get overcome with the heat.
The Slade family has lived here for as long as anyone can remember. Cutting grass, raising turkeys, and offering refreshing drinks on a hot day.
Sonny lives on a farm. He's very young man. He does all he does, and he does what he can.
With winter approaching, making hay was an important task. Hay fed the cow, and the cow fed the families.
There's all kinds of rocks. They haven't been cut for years.
Never had a chance to cut hay with a side before. It's nice to have a good crack at it.
Wasn't enough for everybody. Like, you wanted this and you wanted that.
It was also a chance to chat with the neighbors and for the kids to have some fun.
Rebuild! Fire!
For years, it's been rumored that Kingwell was where the bootleggers lived. But the Slades say that's just gossip. Rum running has always been a part of Outport life, and Placentia Bay was known for its mysterious schooners. On this day, there appeared to be no booze around. But as the afternoon wore on, Harold became spirited and his mood soared. He finally came home around midnight, claiming he'd spent his evening discussing turkeys and the weather. The next day, Ralph fishes with Elliot, and for the first time, Monty takes his son, Mitchell, to sea.
I feel it's my right as a Newfoundlander, it's my birthright and my God-given right to come out here and handline fish for a meal.
Do you feel as strongly, Ralph, as Monty appears to about birthright and father-son ability to do this?
I don't think I'm as militant as Monty. I certainly would like to have the opportunity to do this with my son on occasion. I think that connection with the sea, passing it on from father to son, has been broken. And it was broken in the last 15 or 20 years when people were driven out of the fishery by virtue of the fact that they needed to make a living elsewhere.
And I'm wondering if that's the future just over your shoulder there.
That's it, pal.
The tanker.
A couple of 100 miles offshore, they're bringing up black gold. It's the new cod. At the moment, myself and Monty have got a little bit of a difference of opinion when it comes to fishing, and I guess there's a bit of a competitive streak in both of us.
And yet you keep getting...
I've had a couple of good days to fish. He's had a couple of not so good days, but who's keeping track?
Me and Sorry all grudge for a long, long time. Some people never spoke to one another for years. Men was worse than women. You know? And sometimes they have a row and then they go to church and they get converted and they go shake hands with one another. And I remember that, you know.
Day 50. The storms of August finally reach the Wheeler house. Anna wants to take over the kitchen, which is fine with Ralph. But Marianne is not happy.
I can't be who she wants me to be. She said there must be something wrong with me because I'm the first kid that she can't get along with. I mean...
That must hurt, eh?
Yeah.
Things aren't quite as happy as they could be in the Wheeler household. My kids and I would very much like a change at this point. I want Anna to feel what it's like to be a 14-year-old girl responsible for doing the daily chores every day without the supervision and under the watchful eye of a supervisor.
We're sick of the way the households are, you know. We had a choice from the beginning. If we get to switch households, you know, if we want to change things around. And there's only 3 weeks left. Count, folks. 3 weeks. 3.5, actually. But we do think that there should be a change. The change, Marianne leaving our house so I can run the household, and Harold leaving the Murrays and coming over here. And I'm just way too tired to think about it anymore because I've been thinking about it a lot. And I'm really scared when the meeting's gonna be because she's gonna try to kill me. Okay.
In an effort to be open and frank with people, thought I'd bring this, it's not an issue, it's a concern, and it's something that I've, you know, been thinking about for a while, obviously, and it concerns Marianne and our household. And that is that we've been here 7 weeks now, and it's my opinion and my feeling that Anna should be given an opportunity to run the household.
I'd like to know exactly where Ralph was coming from, because first when we started out here, I asked Anna, you know, what do you want to do? What would you like to do? And just shrugged her shoulders and walked out the door. So things went on from bad to worse till I finally asked to call a meeting and see what could we do to set up a structure. And I, for one, thought it was rather cleared up.
It's taken her 7 weeks to get to this point. And
now she
suggested
thinks
she
she
wasn't
can take
willing
over.
to do anything the first 2 weeks. Hell, if you wanted to look at us the first 2 or 3 weeks and said, how much fishing did we do as a bunch of fishermen? We did nothing. Because we were trying to get established here. Same as all of us were. Trying to get here and get squared away and to start to
Well,
operate
what does
a house.
Anna want to do now?
I want to be able to run the house. Because, well, yeah, because when I got here, I didn't know how to do any of this kind of stuff. And if it took me like this long to learn how to do it all, then...
So you don't need my help anymore? You should rather do it all on your own? That's interesting. I must be a good teacher, eh? And you a good learner.
I don't know.
It's probably going to take more than sitting down for a half hour talking about it. It's going to take dialogue over time to heal whatever wound is there or whatever misgivings is felt. Or it takes a while to change, but you're probably not going to settle no issue tonight.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
it's not that.
As far as living arrangements, it's 7 weeks now, and everyone is pretty well settled into to a steady routine. I'm not prepared to make any decision now on that. That's
Why do you think it's such like a bad idea to like switch households with?
I'm not going to switch households. That's a given.
Why not?
Because I don't want to. I'm here settled for 7 weeks, and I have no intentions of moving out of my digs.
But the
If it doesn't
pretext
suit-
was that we would have choices.
Well, that's my choice. I'm making my choice.
You're making it for everybody.
I'm making it for me.
But you're making it for everybody.
Well, anybody else can say what they want. If you want to move out, well, you have a choice to move out.
Why would I move out?
Well, why would I move out?
Because it's our house.
It's my house too.
I think she has it all wrong from the beginning to think this is some kind of personal attack against her or something. I mean, it took me this long to learn how to do all this stuff, and then she won't even give me a chance. And
I've had a feeling all along that there's a resentment of my being here. And I don't really see why I should be the one who's flexible at this stage of the game. I mean, if Anna can't cope, well, maybe the best thing for her to do is go home.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Join us next time for the final dramatic episode of Quest for the Sea.
Hey, Bruegel out there now.
Day 51. For Ralph Wheeler and his children, life at Hay Cove has turned sour. Anna says the fight with Marianne was the worst thing she has ever lived through. And Ralph is angry that his kids were bruised by what he calls arrogant stubbornness. The tension had been building for weeks until it broke like a summer storm.
I want to be able to run the house. Why do you think it's such like a bad idea to switch households with?
I'm not going to switch households. That's a given.
Why not?
Because I don't want to. I'm here settled for 7 weeks, and I have no intentions of moving out of my digs.
But,
If you want to move out, well, you have a choice to move out.
Why would I move out?
Well, why would I move out?
Because it's our house.
Life in small communities has never been easy. Hay Cove is no different than other places where neighbors fought, families bickered, and 14-year-olds struggled to find their place.
She says 14-year-old girls would have been happy here. No girl in any generation, anywhere, would be happy in my place, living with no other teenagers, no other girls your age, a crabby old lady, your dad, your brother, and some little kids, and 2 neighbors, and a crazy man. No girl would find that fun. So you're gonna have to scrape that out and clean that. The meeting yesterday did not go good. It did not go as I planned. It did not go as my dad planned, and if anything, it's made things worse.
I think we're dealing with a disturbed youth. In my experience, I would think there'd be a great deal of consideration given to the, say, the great-grandmother. I'm sure a 14-year-old girl wouldn't get her way because she wanted it.
She basically gave up on Anna after so many weeks. And you don't do that to a 14-year-old kid. You got to work with what you have. I found her methods to be quite abrasive and aggressive, and I guess my kids didn't take well to it.
The Murrays also feel the chill, although Annie tried not to get involved.
Nan, to me, we have a relationship that's really friendly, and I never lived with her. It's probably totally different to live with her than to be her friend. And that's why I don't really want to change that situation, because I want to keep Nan as she is right now, to me. I can understand Anna, especially because I lived with Monty's mother for a year, and I found it hard. She had so much experience, and I had none, and she was a bit telling me what to do all the time. But again, it makes you strong, and it makes you realize that, well, I mean, that's life. It's not always easy, you know.
Annie's husband, Monty, was annoyed by the fight. He believes neighbors should keep their business private.
I was asked by Mr. Wheeler to come over and sit in on the meeting and to have some input. I think if I had my time back, I'd have stayed out of it. It was really none of my concern. It wasn't any issues to do with me, and I shouldn't have waded in there and gotten involved in it in any way, because it sort of stuck to me after that. It bothered me for a few days.
Monty's reaction was to keep to himself, fishing alone at dawn, then spending the rest of his time building a swing for his children. Harold had his own way of dealing with the stress.
It's been really tough, I guess. A lot of tension, right? There's been a lot of stress, and we're trying to resolve the issue of what happens if Marianne can move into the Murray household. I feel that in the 1937, well, maybe grandmother would have to go back with her own family. Well, he wants a sense of peace and solitude in his own house. They still don't have yet. Okay, him, Anna, and Grandma Marianne, it's still some issues have to be solved. Does she stay or does she go?
months to come, I'll reflect and wonder what this 2.5 months have done for me. I hope that I have learned many things that will help down the road.
How are you liking having your own space in the kitchen?
It's a lot better than it was, just because I get more say in things and kind of like more respect.
Are your meals any good?
Yeah, well, I don't want to say that. I guess. Sometimes I screw it up, like I forget to like put the saltfish on soak, so it's like way too salty and people can't eat it, but that was a mistake. Like, I still don't feel like it's my kitchen or whatever, I mean.
Yeah, well, your dad helps out a lot, right?
Yeah, sometimes too much.
Get all the lumps.
Dad, can I make my own gravy?
You sure can.
In the outports, there was always work to be done, and soon the routines of life returned to Hay Cove.
I get the feeling to know a bit more what the women used to live, used to feel like. It had to be so hard, to stay in the house like this all the time. And from the morning, from 5 in the morning till 11 at night, they were working and working and working and working all the time. I mean,
Marianne now spends her days with the Murrays, but she kept her room at the Wheelers. The Murray children are fond of her, and Annie respects her experience. In this kitchen, a helping hand is welcome.
I remember when I was a teenager and I was living on my own, I didn't know how to cook, That's terrible.
I can always wash the dishes and the clothes for you.
Imagine you're 4 years old and you already know how to do all that. Imagine when you're 15, 16 years old.
In 1937, 28 children lived at Hay Cove, playing games in the grass and chasing shadows in the trout-filled streams. The Murray children have blossomed here, and Annie knows why.
They had to use their imagination so much. At home, they got all kinds of toys, they got the TV, the computer. But here, they've been able to adapt and just use their imagination. It was beautiful to see that they just walk around and pick rocks and have fun for hours doing that. They just love everything that they can do around here.
Newfoundlanders like Monty proudly call their home the Rock.
Most people think that it's just a rock. It's solid and it's a constant. It hasn't changed in 500 years.
But he knows his children's future lies elsewhere, as his kids will soon be starting school. The children of the 30s walked an hour each way to school in Harbour Buffett, but it closed in 1966, along with the nursing station, the cannery, and the harbour office.
Got one! You're going to bed now.
After hundreds of years, family life at Hay Cove was coming to an end.
Si vous voulez un verre de lait et un cinnamon bun avant d'aller vous coucher, vous êtes bien mieux de rentrer tout de suite. Dans la maison, let's go. Some good cinnamon snails with a bit of fresh cream on them, eh? I got one here ready for you back. But next time, if I catch you, you go in the house. I won't play no more. Let's go.
That's it. Allison, give me a kiss and a hug, baby.
Mitchell, come on up.
Only when Allison's bad.
You're gonna brush your teeth. Come on.
Only when Allison's
A hug too. You can't sneak away without giving me a hug.
Like many Newfoundlanders, the Murrays' lives revolve around their children. and they've talked of having more. But in a salt box house with paper-thin walls and a lonely shareman in the next room, intimacy is difficult, but not impossible.
It's nice and peaceful and quiet in the evening, and yeah, we get to have nice conversations together, eh, Monty? Yeah, and relax.
There's not too much to do here in Hay Cove on a Tuesday night. What I'm doing is reading Fatback and Molasses, the collection of favorite old recipes from Newfoundland and Labrador. Sausages baked in potatoes.
But the evenings, it's always like this, like Harold goes to play cards after, well, he eats his supper at the Wheelers, and then he plays cards over there.
Wash and pare potatoes of uniform size. Make whole with apple corer in each. Just
it's so much fun, man.
Trying to be as quiet as you can is a challenge.
That make the bed crack too much. But you know what? We don't care.
I would imagine the fun part of this job is placing the sausages in the potatoes. Anyway, that's open to interpretation, I would imagine.
Oh, we have a really good time. I mean, we don't lack anything here, right?
No.
No, we have a really good life.
Sometimes I see they'd kiss Mom, but not very often. They never showed affection when you were there. Or if they talk about sex or anything like that, they'd send you to your room or go and do something. They'd have something for you to do. Because I can remember when I was a girl, Dad used to send true stories from the States. And my mother used to censor them. She'd read them first, and if there's anything else she didn't want me to read, she'd tear up the page. You know? It was a whole different life.
We had got up early this morning around 6:30 and was asking if we could go out and boat today. We had planned to go out and haul the trawl and maybe go over on our marker buoy and jig some fish. And it was nice and calm, a little bit of fog, a little bit of mist. And you can see the conditions here now are much different than what they were at 6:30 this morning. What do you think a little boy your age would have thought, going out in this or being out in this today?
I would have been a school teacher.
You would have been a school teacher. Yeah, stay on shore. You would have been a hang-ashore. What they call it, hang-ashore? Yeah. Yeah, a little bit too dangerous.
This would be a good day to be a hang-ashore. The waters off Hay Cove are cold and the undertow deadly. A wind has sprung up, swamping one of their boats. They must get it off the beach or the waves will break its back. This wind is from the northeast, what old-timers call a poison wind. There'll be no fishing today. And this worries the men. The season is near its end, and the merchant will be back soon. After 2 months, they have caught nearly 4,000 pounds of cod. But they owe the merchant more. How much more, no one's sure, because they have no way of knowing what their fish will be worth. The merchant sets the price when he comes to settle his bill. For generations, this is how it was. The families lived in constant debt. They managed by simply getting on with life. After all, there was never a shortage of things to worry about.
I think she looks thinner than when we first came. She gives a great big pail of milk twice a day, so it's very important that she stays healthy.
It's the main source we've been using since we came here.
So obviously we're going to get more rain. Anytime we get a good runoff, we can't drink it, then we're left to back to boiling.
Boiling the water.
When they weren't fishing, they were doing something else, cutting wood, getting firewood. They were just
worn out, beat up. I mean, you look at people in their 30s and they look 60, you know, some of them. It was just from hard work.
At the Wheeler house, Anna is trying her best. Marianne is all but gone, so the kitchen's hers. For a city girl whose idea of doing chores was cleaning up her emails, Anna thinks she's doing okay.
I'm really tired, and I've been working my butt off lately. So I hope people recognize that I've been doing a lot of work. I think I proved myself, and I did that by finally showing that I'm capable of running a house by myself. If they don't let me or not, that's a different story. But they do know I'm capable of doing it.
She's finding her way around doing baking and doing home chores that she would never attempt otherwise. If there was a way to package this experience for parents and to have their children come and live this experience, what a tremendous gift it would be, because I truly believe that my kids have grown from this this summer.
This morning, Mitchell got up. He woke up at 5, like Monty did. And he said, I want to go with you. I want to go with you. Had all his eyes were all puffy, you know, from the lack of sleep. But he thought, I guess Mitchell thought it was really important for him to go in the water again. Look at this. Mitchell's always there to help him. And I'm so proud of them. Good luck, guys.
The men are going fishing, although there's not much hope they'll fill their boats. The capelin have gone far offshore, and the cod have followed. In 1937, men made their living on Placentia Bay. Stories are still told of the days when every hook caught a fish and the boats rarely came home empty. Few Newfoundlanders handline with their sons anymore. Government scientists say the cod just aren't there. But inshore fishermen like Monty disagree. He thinks factory ships have destroyed the spawning grounds, killing the industry and driving fishermen away.
I would say there's probably more Newfoundlanders living outside Newfoundland than there is living in Newfoundland. You know, sometimes it's frowned upon because a guy wants to go to the mainland and work the minimum that he has to come back home and be with his family and friends and to be home. It's not his fault, right, or her fault that they have to do that. It's something that they have to do to survive, right?
Dad, I feel seasick.
Do you?
I was never a good fisherman. I could catch my share of fish when we was at it. And if the water got rough, I get sick. I never had a good stomach on the water. There's some people have got extra good stomachs, but I never had a good stomach. I didn't like the rough water. You ever get seasick?
In Newfoundland, the weather changes quicker than a politician's promise. Ralph, Elliot, and Harold have been lucky. They've beaten the storm home. Placentia Bay is no place to be caught in a 16-foot skiff. Mitchell and Monty are almost home too. Like many fishermen, Monty will not wear his life jacket. He says if you fall overboard, the cold sea will kill you slowly, and he'd rather go fast.
Boy, wind came up fast, eh?
Yeah, I did. You had to get in right away. You just didn't get in.
What was it like?
They're really lucky. The spray was coming into the boat. My pants are like soaked.
The spray was coming in?
Yeah, really big. What a brave life, okay? Work all day for nothing. Work all day to put a fish on the table and blister up your hands so you don't think you can take it anymore. And lose so many family members to drownings that you just hope you're next because the pain is just too much inside of you. And can you blame them for, I don't know, just everything they are? Can you blame them for getting rowdy at times because sometimes it's better to drink away your worries? Can you blame them for talking like hicks because they haven't gone to school because they needed to fish instead of going there to support their families? Can you blame them for that?
You got on the boat when it was nice and clear outside,
Yeah.
and then 10 minutes later, kaboom!
Just like that.
How was it on the water, guys?
It was good. It was rough. But it was
I
good.
bet more. I tell you, all of a sudden, mate, the wind picked up.
Oh, you looked at it right away, did you?
Look at that.
It changed.
Guys.
A little dry on me. Like that it is, right? The undertow took me right down, coming in.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right back. Took me
No
back.
way.
Fell right back in the water.
You got them all. Look at that. What about your shirt there? Are you all with it?
No, I had to change, right?
Awesome.
Some socks.
Yeah.
At the Wheeler house, there is no warm welcome for Ralph and Elliot. Anna has let the stove go out. With Marianne at the Murrays and Ralph at sea, Anna's wish to run the kitchen has come true. But there's no hot tea, no cod chowder. It'll be runny eggs for lunch.
There. Now I just wait.
Ralph hoped their time at Hay Cove would help his children appreciate their city lives more.
So are you hungry, Elliot?
Yeah.
Are you hungry a lot of the time now?
Well, yeah, most of the time I can just eat one piece of bread, but I don't want a big snack.
No, I'm just wondering about hunger because you've never really been hungry in your life in the city, have you?
No, only when I had to wait for supper and I couldn't have anything.
Fresh vegetables, too.
You like corned beef?
At the Murrays, things are different. There is food on the stove, and Harold's stomach has brought him home to Annie's kitchen.
So are you hungry, Harold?
Yeah, I'm hungry actually, right? So I had to scoot back over here. Because there are only a couple of eggs, right? So I had to, right?
Oh, that's why you're here.
That's why.
Oh, that is sick.
Why are you here?
So I'll catch you off guard, eh?
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's good. Right there.
That's
Is
for
that
Harold.
Harold?
Yeah.
And I'll serve. Thank you, dear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
There you go, Nan. There's salt and pepper up there.
Just beats 2 eggs, eh? Across the other house.
Now, don't go telling tales.
For Marianne, there is satisfaction in the Wheelers' plight. But her years have taught her that sometimes the best thing to say is nothing at all. Sunday morning, a day of rest at Hay Cove. Annie Murray is not feeling well. To give her some peace, Marianne has taken the children berry picking. Monty is worried about Annie. Her energy is low, and she's been off her food. In the Hay Cove of the 1930s, Monty would have taken her across the bay to find a doctor. But on this day, a charter brings something in to settle Annie's concerns.
Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm great. Thank you. There you go.
How you doing?
Good, and you?
Got something for you.
Well, thank you.
Okay. And what is that?
A pregnancy test.
My mother-in-law, she had 11 or 12 children. And then she took a granddaughter too at that. And she'd look after all of those. And I often wonder, as we sit there now, and we wonder where they all slipped. Because the house was only 3 and 4 bedrooms, and now some people only had 2 bedrooms. And they had big families, and they all slipped. And so we talk about it, and I know one family that they had the small children, they used to have 3 up top, 3 down the bottom in one bed. And that's what you had to do.
Day 55, a crucial day at Hay Cove. The merchant's agent is coming to settle his bill and grade their fish. With winter approaching, they need more supplies. But if they don't have enough cod to pay their account, the families will be left to what was known as the Christian kindness of the merchant. At the Murray house, Annie has some news.
It's a false alarm.
It's negative?
Yes. Oh, man. Oh, I'm very disappointed right now. But I'm looking at it like maybe it gave us a chance to think about maybe another child. It just gave us the taste of maybe we'd like to have another one, you know. So, man. Oh well.
Her disappointment must wait. The bill collector has arrived.
I haven't seen you gentlemen since June. How has the summer been?
Not too bad, actually.
Merchants' agents were known as cullers. Men like Frank Slade determined the quality and the value of the cod.
Fish for you to grade. We've got a few.
After months of risking their lives, fishermen were told by the culler how much their work was worth.
Well, shall we get to the culling and get on with it?
All right, I guess you want this brought out.
Yes, please.
Get our shearman, we'll bring it up.
What I'm doing here, this is small Madeira pile here, and the tomcod pile there, and that's what's in that pile over there.
The cod is graded by category, best to worst. Choice, merchant, Madeira, or West Indies. Tom cod were undersized and kept by the fishermen.
That's the tomcod. Most of your fish is running small Madeira or tomcods. And part of the reason is that it is showing, the splitting is not too bad in itself. But what's happened is that it's showing too much salt on the face. And in order
the men have caught about 2 tons of cod, but to keep the maggots away, they used lots of salt.
Hot weather came along, did fishermen tend to salt it a little heavier? Because this is some of the latest batches that come off. And we did salt it because we were having some...
Normally they would try in the real heat of the day, not have the fish out, covered up in the middle of the real heat of the day.
Sunburned fish, that could still be sold?
The sunburn can be sold. The only problem is that sunburn, it can look great on the surface.
Right.
You know, like it can be good splitting, good salting, and everything else. But unfortunately, if it's sunburned, it has to go into that bottom grade, which is West Indian, which is your worst grade. And see, here's one here. You don't even have to turn it over, look. There was so much heat on it that it virtually cooked.
Frank, you're killing us here, Frank.
I know.
You're killing us, man.
I feel badly, but I feel badly.
It'll be a rough fall. Children, no new shoes! So the colour must have got treated like royalty.
Oh, you certainly didn't want to be on out. But you see, these colours were licensed by the government.
Yeah, but the government wasn't around when they came ashore, and they went up and, you know, the wife had dinner on for you. And
what you could eat in a day wasn't considered a bribe, you see. That was always the yardstick.
So you're fudging it, Frank. There was obviously bribes on the go. There had to be.
It was a very warm summer, very, very difficult summer trying to cure and dry light salted fish. You know, they made a decision, which I think was the right decision, to give the fish extra salt. By doing that, they saved the quality of the fish in terms of the edibility, but the grade went down. It was a gamble all the way, whichever way you looked at it.
After their work, after their gamble, what is the value, estimated value of their summer's work?
Well, right now, I mean, if you look at 7.5 cantons of fish, and some of it being of the lower grade because of the weather and everything else, we're dealing with probably you know, and I'm not really sure exactly what the market will be paying, of probably $20, $25 worth of fish.
$20 or $25 worth of fish,
yes,
after a summer's worth of work.
Yes.
And they started the summer $125 in debt from
Right.
buying their supplies.
Yes.
So after 2 months of risking their lives and working hard, they've got a $100 debt.
Yes.
It's discouraging just to realize, you know, we didn't even make half of what we owed a merchant. Yeah. And if we were looking at staying the winter, we would certainly be hard pressed to put enough food on the table for our family this year. You get a sense of how much power these people had and how they had your future or your destiny in their hands, I suppose.
In the economy of the outports, there were few choices for anyone. Merchants rarely forced fishermen out of business. After all, they bought the goods and supplied the fish. And families lived with constant debt, paying what they could and hoping for better fishing next year.
There's no money. There's no money in fishing when I started. You're not going to believe it, I'm going to tell you now, but it was, I sold fish with my father, $2.50 for 112 pounds. Now, and today you can get 130. You could get $130 a day for 100 pounds if dry fish. That's a lot different, isn't it? That was back in the 30s, in the early 40s.
Late August. Once again, Hay Cove is in transition. The wheelers are moving. They are being resettled.
Handle it?
Yeah.
Resettlement began in the 40s when the government decided Newfoundland's future lay in city factories, not outport fisheries. Fishermen were told to burn their boats and move to town. It was a terrible wound to many Newfoundlanders. Even today, the island is bitterly divided about resettlement.
I agree with that, because they were on islands, and in the wintertime, the islands were all, there was ice all around, and how did they get in? I saw babies starve, just like you see on television, with their stomachs bloated and their heads got big, and they just died.
There was people going around asking about this, and people had to sign to move, and they'd give you so much money if you move, like $200 I think for the mother and the father, and then $100 each for whatever children you had. If you had 1 million children, you would have done all right. But pure disgrace, God, it was a pure disgrace, that's the truth.
The house I had was only 7 or 8 years older. I got $200 for that. You got nothing.
Many fishermen took their homes with them, believing no matter where they moved, they would still be poor. And floating a house was cheaper than building a new one.
What was that like, seeing your house float away to sea?
We're thinking, right, we're going losing, we might lose, and then we have nothing, you know. What they did, they got up, all the boys worked together.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, we had to stay with somebody then while they were getting our house done, getting it ready to go into, and then somebody come stay with us while they were getting their house ready, eh? It was like that, you know.
Nice to have you with us, Val.
And it's nice to be here.
In 1937, a team of men would have spent weeks pulling this house towards the bay. The families have neither the experience nor the manpower to move a house. So the neighbors have come with some modern equipment to lend a hand.
So how did they do this without ATVs and chainsaws and come-alongs and things like that?
Brute strength.
And teamwork and patience too, I would say, eh? Boy, oh boy.
At day's end, the families and their friends gather to enjoy the evening. It has been a summer of success and failure. The merchant's debt remains, but the neighbors say the men have done well.
So what's your appraisal on our efforts?
Oh,
Half decent?
You done good.
Huh?
Done good. Good.
Give us a passing grade. This is the fellow that fishes. When he fished, he would catch 4 fish to 100 pounds.
If true wealth is measured by love of family and respect for the memories of those who came before, then Hay Cove has prospered.
Oh, tonight the west moon hangs over the harbour, shines down across the headland and out across the bay, shines down through the trees and rests on the graveyard, the only reminder of a long ago day. My mind takes me back to a time in that harbour when stout boats at anchor dozed on the sway, when the laughter of children sent glad cries to heaven, and women looked seaward from meadows of hay.
It was frightening to us people because I suppose, girl, we were right innocent, I don't know, but we couldn't figure in the world what was going to be the end of us. Like the day you left home, you know, you never think you were going back again, although you'd say it in your mind, we'll come back, but you never thought you ever would, you know.
Born rowboats, you've got 2 jobs for every man. What happened to him? I know I never seen him, never got him.
I was determined that my sons was not going fishing. You was always in debt when you fished. And you go fishing in the summer, and before you went fishing, you went to the merchant and you took up your traps and enough food for your summer. And then in the fall of the year, you wouldn't get enough fish to pay it off. You was always in debt.
Day 62. The families are going home. The Wheeler house is halfway to the beach, where it is stuck in the mud. Heavy rains have created a bog, and the house will stay put until freeze up. It has been a long summer, and the families leave with pride and humility.
This life is really what I want to live. I'm trying to motivate myself to say, well, I'll be able to go do different things, you know, go shopping and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to work towards living this way again.
I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to make memories, you know. I didn't come here to show people what I could do. I came here to show myself what I could do.
It's so cool. I'll be like, hey, psh, better watch what you say. I lived in an outport, you know? It's cool.
My big hope is that in some way we as a community will do justice to our heritage.
I do respect my forefathers a lot more. I have more appreciation for what they did because now I have partially lived what they did.
It's a story of hardship. It's a story of demanding work physically. It's also a story of people sharing those experiences and being able to rely on their neighbor.
Oh, just experiencing it firsthand, not reading about it. You know, it was nice to just get a chance to come back and live there.
I don't care how old you get, you know. Home is home and it'll always be home, no matter what it's like, good or bad or what it's like. That always in your heart and mind, your home.